everybody. This is not my normal job, but I'm so delighted to be here to celebrate my friend Kate, who I've known since middle school. I think she's absolutely incredible in this film, and I would like to have maybe a little conversation about some things. Hi. Roll credits, right?
Yeah, every single one of these people were awesome.
Where did you shoot this?
Jersey. We were in New Jersey, freezing New Jersey, for 36 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so first I like to talk about the fact that I think the casting in this film is incredible, but mostly you being in this role. I think it was such an unexpected thing for you. I mean, I see where you have things in common with this character, but you're also really different. I lost myself watching this film. Like, I've known you so long, and you're like a world famous movie star. And there wasn't a moment that I was like, there's Kate playing a part. Like, every single time, I kept thinking there's Claire. So tell me, like, when you read this script, were you like, that's something I know I can nail, but nobody knows that? Or did you have doubts or like any insecurities, or were you unsure at all?
Well, before I answer this, are you saying you didn't see that in me and like our 8th grade production?
No, I'm curious. No, I did, but you were so convincing. I lost myself completely. Like, I was just like, this is clear. Like,
Yeah.
I really was like amazed knowing you so well that like there was no Kate in there, kind of. It was amazing.
That's the greatest compliment. I think there's a couple of things. Like, yeah, there's a ton of insecurity. I think I'm always insecure when I step into a role. There's always insecurities and challenges and things that I you know, especially like scenes that I'm waiting to do that kind of give me that excitement, the butterflies.
Was there a scene that you were like very nervous
A
about?
lot of them in this one. There was I would say nervous, but excited. I mean, you know, it's a thrilling experience to see a role like this on a page, and for someone like me who doesn't often have like directors knocking on my door to play, you know, a Wisconsin depressed, you know, addicted to drugs and, you know, no leg. Like, it's not exactly like the role that I see on my desk all the time, you know. But for me as an actor, it's all I long to really want to dig my teeth into. So when it came my way, it was like, oh my God, I can't wait to do all of these things. I think it's like adrenaline, isn't it? It's like being an athlete and going out on the field in high stakes. Into the scene, you know, when I'm crawling out on the ground. These are like really intense days, and if you're 32,000 feet up and you're shooting a movie like this, and you look down, you're sort of like, wow, all these people are crazy. But when you're in it, it's just so cathartic and meaningful, and we had the best crew, and the Craig Brewer is so amazing. And he was so in his pocket, and I felt super safe. I felt like I could go there. I remember saying to him, how deep can I go with the Wisconsin accent? And he just said, go. And I was like, thank you, because I don't get that permission often either, you know. And Hugh Jackman was like, I can't even explain what a wonderful, generous human he is. Like, no words would do justice what it feels like to work with him. It was like having someone hold your hand through the entire process, And so every step of the way was like a new experience and something that sort of stretched me, and honestly, something I was very ready to do, you know? Um, yeah, it's nice to get older.
I agree. I also think like, and like, I mean, you were like okay having like kind of like dorky hair, you know, like there were so many things that are like a lot of actors would be like, just make it a little bit cooler. I was like, you went for it in a way like on every level.
I honestly, I am the opposite when it comes to vanity and art. I long for the days that I have a very short time to make a trailer. When someone says I can gain 15 pounds, I'm really excited. I'm like, I don't have any of that. To me, that's like the gift of what we're able to do. It's like we can transform and, I can save like glamorous things for red carpets and having fun dressing up in real life. But for movies, to be able to go to those places is my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, as you know, we grew up together. We are like theater geeks.
Yeah.
It's like you get into it not for the vanity, you get into it to get weird. And it's funny, as your career kind of takes off, it takes you in different directions, and you sort of start to do things and people want to see you in a certain way. But I've always loved the character aspect of acting. So to do something like this lends itself to that, and that made me really, really happy.
You really see that love in every frame of this film. I just loved the movie. Also, another thing that I thought was so challenging as an actor, and I was curious to hear about it from your point of view, was like there's a lot of on-screen drama. Like, the choice in the script was to like go and experience like all these things on screen, and that is very hard to pull off because a lot of times you have like a dramatic moment that plays off screen and you see the aftermath or you see beforehand. You see everything happen in this film, but you make it completely believable and you stay totally authentic the whole time. What was like, did you have a rehearsal process? Like, what was that like? What were those discussions like?
No, there was no rehearsal. We had no rehearsal on this movie. The only rehearsal we had was you and I actually doing the scratching tracks for the Neil Diamond songs.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we met, and that was how we got to know each other. And then we just started working. We didn't have the time really for rehearsal. And honestly, the thing for me, and it's with everything that I've ever done, I just hear my dad say, just don't ever let anyone catch you acting. That's Kurt's thing, and I like that. I like when my goal always is like, how do you make something that you're putting a lot into feel effortless? I don't want anyone to see choices. It makes me like get nervous if anyone can recognize a choice that's being made. So my goal is always in everything I'm doing is like, how do I make something feel as effortless and get into the body of whatever it is that I'm doing. And with something like this, it just takes a lot more practical effort, meaning the accent and taking the time ahead of time to really get that right, and a lot more script notes, than other things.
Now, you're playing a singer, and you are an incredible singer. You have a music career that's thriving. Incredible. I'm so proud of you. And one thing I was thinking about is that you're playing a person who impersonates other singers her whole career. How did you approach singing as Claire versus singing as Kate and the musical aspect of this film?
I think both you and I grew up in chorus together. We did musical theater together.
Yes.
And as we know, when you're playing different roles, you do take on a different vocal instrument sometimes, even though I've never seen myself as a technician of my instrument.
Well,
but
you've got amazing technique.
Thank you. But I'm not like that. I didn't study for that, and so it's more of an ear thing for me and trying to find that, for me. It's actually really quite fun, trying to find Patsy Cline was really fun and getting some of a little bit of her sound.
You got that, yeah.
And the same thing with Claire, I think the thing for me in this movie was that I was supporting Hugh and his voice. I really was his backup singer, and I loved every second of it. And it was really nice to just, in the studio, figure out how to support him the best, too, as you know, when you're singing with someone.
Yeah. I could see that. Both of you guys felt, I think it's why the love story plays so well, because you both feel like you're so supportive of one another. As actors, did you know Hugh before?
No.
Had you been wanting to work? I assume you've been wanting to work with him.
Sure. I'll work with anybody. But Hugh, literally, we did a whole movie together a year later, and then a bunch of press, and about halfway through the press, 2 months into doing press, he's like, "No, I met you 25 years ago at your mom's house." I'm like, "What?" We've known each other now a year and a half, and he remembered that he met me 25 years earlier, and I didn't remember. And but we didn't really.
You're like, that's funny, you weren't that memorable.
Oh, you were that.
Oh, you?
Oh, that 6-foot floor man in my mother's kitchen. No, Hugh. Oh God,
He saw you on CBS Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Is that correct? 'Cause this was and he was like, "That is our Claire," right?
Yeah.
That is so sweet. It makes me want to cry. And he was so right.
But Hugh makes me want to cry. I know that sounds so weird.
I'm crying right now.
Hugh, I can't even explain it. It's like everything, however he grew up and however he was raised and whatever his family of origin situation is, made him a person that gives and gives and gives and gives. And you feel that every second of the way. So you want to try to give it back, but it's almost like you can't because he's such a giver that he's just like, "No, let me give this to you," and you're and you just honestly feel like the luckiest person. This movie for us, we've both never been in a love story like this that really lives and dies at the love story. If we didn't work in this movie, the movie didn't work. It was my biggest fear about the script when I read it the first time. When I read it the first time, I was like, well, if Hugh and I don't have that thing, the movie's not gonna really play.
Yeah.
And so the first time we really met and sat and talked to each other, that was fine. I was really open with him, and I said, I need us to work because I just thought if it doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. And I said, so I'm gonna touch you all the time. I'm gonna hug you every day. I'm gonna kiss you on your cheek. I'm gonna I wanna feel tactile with you and open. I want to tell you my whole life story. I want you to feel comfortable telling me yours. And within 2 days, it felt like we knew everything about each other. And he was so down. It was perfect alignment and timing for both of us to be doing something like this. And
that's such a good trick, by the way. That's so great. What a great choice. I love it. Just I'm gonna hug you every day. What a good, confident way to go about creating familiarity very quickly.
I also said it's really weird. You can tell me it's too much, but it never got weird. And it was just so lovely. And I remember the wedding sequence was one of the first things we did. And I remember walking down the aisle and seeing all of these characters in the movie. And we hadn't even really gotten into our groove yet, but I was walking down the aisle, and I was looking at, I was getting married to Hugh Jackman. And I was looking at him, and I was like, I love this movie. I had this feeling, I love these people. I love this man, I love those kids, I love this weird place we're in, and we had the best day on that wedding sequence, and we sang Sweet Caroline, and the whole cast and crew, the whole crew was singing, and I was like, oh, this is it felt like magic when we were shooting it. You never know if that translates to the screen, but that's what it felt like. And that moment was like, oh. And then he kissed me, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, I like this.
That's it. That's it. Okay, now I'm just gonna move to Almost Famous just for a second. That film. Okay, a little bit of lore was that you were supposed to play the part
Your role, yes.
and like you becoming Penny Lane was like absolutely instrumental in my career. So thank you. Thank you. And also, like, I can't imagine Penny Lane being anyone other than you. Have you read Cameron's new book?
Oh my God, yes. Have you read it? Everybody
so
has
good.
to read Cameron's book. It's
has to
uncool.
read Cameron's book. It's called The Uncool. It's amazing.
It's so great.
There was a little quote
About Penny Lane. And I felt like when I read about the real Penny Lane. And when I read this, I was like, I can't believe you found like the perfect person to play this part. Okay. She knew the art of being a pal, and I can't imagine anyone who wouldn't have fallen under the spell of her friendship. A whiff of sadness was mixed with her infectious confidence. I thought that was like unbelievable.
Cameron.
He's the best. I mean, you're right.
I'm jealous.
It's so good.
I want to write like
I know,
Cameron.
me too.
There's so much of that book too was like such an amazing thing to read because that movie, I think for both of us, was such. I mean, this was our coming out movie.
Yes.
And for me, I went in and I went in for the role of Anita
Yeah.
and the sister and ended up having the role. Sarah, Polly, and Brad Pitt were in the movie. We're going to be Penny Lane and Russell, Billy Cruz's character, and then they fell out. And I was like, well, I'm still in. And he called me, he's like, you're the only person still in this movie, but will you please stay? And I was like, 1,000%. I can't not work with you. You're one of my favorite filmmakers. And I really was getting roles, like leading roles at that time. And my agent was getting frustrated with me because I wouldn't leave the movie. And then I just said to Cameron, please come audition for Penny. Please, like, let me. And he had a really hard time with me doing it. He was like, no, you're the sister. And finally, he let me do it, and then he let me do it, and then let me do it. I had auditioned 5 times for Penny Lane. And I was working in Ireland, and I kept flying back to LA for like a day to audition. And finally, Gail, casting director, casting directors are champions.
Yes.
Gail Levy was like, Cameron, you can't do this to her anymore. She's Penny Lane, you have to cast her. And so then I got it, and thank God, because here we were again in a production like a year and a half out of high school.
Yes.
You and
I was like in my first year of college, and I was like, I auditioned for that movie, and I thought I hadn't gotten a part, which I hadn't. And then on my spring break, I was back, and they're like, Cameron wants to see you again. And I was like, what? I'm like, that movie's already cast. And they're like, no, but it's a secret thing. And I'm like, okay. And so I went, and then I found out this whole thing, and I'm like, dang, Kate Hudson. Yes. And I only had to go in once because they had to quickly cast it. So it was like, it was great. Thank you for that, by the way. What would you say, or what advice would you give to like 19, 20-year-old Kate doing this film? Like, what would you say to her?
Nothing. I'm serious. When people say stuff like that, I'm like, every mistake I've ever made is the best thing that's ever happened. And I wish kids could make more mistakes now. I think it's like we put so much pressure on these kids to like make it and do it perfect, and it's like, no, be messy, make mistakes, take risks, have failures. Like every step along the way has gotten me to where I am at. But I think that the scary thing is that the only way to really do it is to have a strong support system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so me me, I have such a strong family unit,
Yeah.
and it's always been my safety net. You know, it's like I knew that if my career didn't take off, or if it wasn't going to be, you know, something huge, that I'd still be doing theater, I'd still be doing something in the arts, I'd still be acting in some capacity, however I could. But I have such a strong family unit that it wouldn't. That's all that would matter to me. I was raised like that,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say anything to my husband.
Okay, I love that answer so much, and it leads me back into another question about self-censorship. You're such an optimist. Like, that is so it's so embedded in your being. You're like sunshine. And I think that is so similar to this Claire's character. Like, I feel like that was what you had in common, but like, she has a lot of darkness. So like, and that felt really different. So like, how did you find that darkness?
Well, there's a weird thing, right? When like someone's outwardly joyous or optimistic, there's like some weird thing that people think that just exists every day of their life, you know? And they're just like, and to me, that's like insanity. You know, it's like, you know, I love this quote that contentment is a discipline, and I'm a very disciplined, optimistic person. And I think Claire, as a person, is as well. But her struggle is something extreme that I have never really truly understood except through this process. You know, her suffering comes from something that is like, you know, something she always struggles with, but she really fights for her family, and she really fights for the light. And when she is in it, it's like she smiles with her whole body, and she sings with every ounce of her body, and the very, very little things in Claire's life makes her happy. If she could get there, it's like the right place for her to be. And I do understand innately what it is to be someone who's always looking towards sunshine, as the sun is.
Yes.
But I also think, like, you know, no life is without its, you know, the magnet is a plus and a negative, and without them it doesn't work. And we are negative biased by nature. So those of us who somehow have short-circuited that is like something for me that's feels purposeful. Like, how do you talk about living positively and moving towards things that make you feel good? And this movie is a great testament to that, because, you know, we need movies like this that when you leave them, you feel this like life-affirming feeling of we can get through anything, that we are all, the human condition is resilient, as grit, it's spirited. That when you have support systems that believe in you, you have a stronger sense of believing in yourself. Like, we need reminders of these things in cinema, and I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be a part of it, because that is how I like to live and talk about life and family and art too.
I love that.
Awesome.
Okay, just with 1 minute. Well, 1 minute. Okay, gosh, that went fast. I was gonna say if like one person has a question. Okay, you, right there.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. Hi, loved you in the movie. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
But throughout your filmography, you're always sort of choosing dreamers and people that are optimistic and trying to do their best and everything like that. Is that kind of like a character that you're always obsessed with, or did you ever want to try and do something a little bit darker or more different? Because like this is a bit more of a darker character with the struggles that she goes with.
As you're saying that, I'm trying to think of all the dreamers I've played. I know what came up to my mind was Birdie in Glass Onion. I'm like, I'm not so sure Birdie was a dreamer.
She dreamed big.
You know, Like I said, I'll do anything. Anything that I mean, not anything. But like, I just want to work with great filmmakers. I want to enjoy the people that I get to work with and people that inspire me. And I want to read something on the page and get excited about the scene that I get to do that day. I feel like if you've got like 4 scenes in a movie that you can't wait to do, it's a dream as an actor, you know. There's so many things creatively I want to do. It's not just even in movies. It's whether it be in music or stage. You know, I just love the performing arts, and opportunities are what come to you when they come to you, and you just go like, you know, when they come to you and they're great, you're just like, oh, thank God, you know, because it's, you know, we're hired guns, but what's been inspiring, I think, about these last couple of years is the sort of shift of how the industry's going, and there's so much creative output happening, and I think a lot of the creatives are getting very motivated to try to make more films that should exist in the theater, and I'm getting really excited about that, and I want to try to do my part in that to keep this art form alive and exciting for people to sit. Like, I look at this theater, and the theater filled with people having this experience. Like, I grew up falling in love with movies because of this experience, and I just, you know, that's to me become like the bigger purpose of this experience in the last, I'd say, 5 years.
And loved you in Glass Onion.
Thank
Birdie
you.
was awesome.
All right, I think everyone's got to see almost there.